Hi, it's Cami from the blog Tidbits, and this video I want to show you how to sew luxury pleated curtains by sewing in pleat tape to your fabric, or even like inexpensive store-bought curtains. You seriously won't believe how easy it is and what a simple upgrade it is to your drapery. First, I want to clarify why you might want to sew pleat tape into your curtains. So pleat tape gives you so many options for hanging your curtains. Once you sew in the pleat tape, which is seriously easier to do than you might ever imagine, but once it's in, you can create multiple pinch pleat looks. There's like double or triple pleats, Euro pleats, casual pleats, goblet pleats, knife pleats, box pleats, and more. As you can see, pleats get pretty technical, but all of these options are a major upgrade to your drapery and can be done with the same pleat tape and hooks. So any of these options will just give detail and create a fullness at the top, while also just allowing the curtains to gently ripple and lay beautifully down your wall. I much prefer this look when compared to, say, like simple gathered grommet or tab top curtains. And I have to tell you, when compared to those options, sewing in the pleat tape was like hands down the easiest curtains I have ever sewn. What is also great about this pleat tape is that you can add it to store-bought curtains really easily. If you've bought curtains that just have like a simple casing at the top where you insert the rod, or you can like hang it with clips, you can actually sew on the pleat tape to the back of the top and create like the same pinch pleat look. So I have made our curtains for our living room out of fabric yardage that I bought. I purchased a heavier weight pure linen that's like a dark natural color. I think it goes really well with the creamy white walls in our living room. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know I kind of have an unhealthy obsession with pure 100% linen fabric. So much so, I recently started a new growing shop to make and sell handmade linen products to you. I will leave a link for you in the description so you can check out Tidbits Linen if you would like to. There are some fun gift ideas in there for you, or maybe something that you might like for yourself. But anyway, after I sewed in the pleat tape, I got my hooks and played around with them for quite some time to kind of find my favorite look. I ended up loving this really tight gathered look that is a lot like a casual goblet or a cartridge pleat. I'm just gonna call it a casual pleat for reference. So to create this look, I just inserted one side of the prong and then counted 5 pleat spaces to insert the other side of the prong. I like this because unlike most pinch pleats that are tightly gathered and then they're kind of spaced a bit apart, it just created a nice continuous pleated or gathered look. I'm not actually sure if this is an official pleat look, but just while I was experimenting, it became my favorite look. I might actually change it up from time to time, but that's just the beauty of pleat tape. Okay, let me walk you through the whole curtain making process so that you can do this on your own if you would like. First, let's talk about supplies. So, pleat tape. There are a variety of pleat tapes. The type I got is a very basic, with just pleat casings spaced about 1 inch apart. You can get, like, there's a pull tape pleat tapes. Yeah, pull tape pleat tapes. They create kind of a really super pleated look. But I like this one because you can get a lot of different looks just from this one pleat tape. You'll also need pleat hooks or pleater hooks. Now again, these come in many styles. I find the 4-prong ones to be the most multi-purpose pleat hook. And then you'll also need curtain rings to hang with the pleat hooks. You'll just want curtain rings with like this little eyelet hole that you can just insert the hook right into that ring. Okay, then fabric. Of course, you'll need fabric or pre-made curtains. One really important thing to note: pleats really reduce the overall width of your curtain panel. You can kind of plan for at least half of the width once you're pleated and it's hooked. My fabric was about 50 wide, and I knew that wouldn't be full enough once I started pleating it, so I bought actually double the length and stitched it down one of the long edges to create a panel that was starting at about 100 inches. Now once pleated, I just ended up with this lovely fullness at the top. I'm not going to give you like exact fabric measurements here since all of our windows will be different, but hopefully you can just figure out how much fabric you'll need by measuring the length that you want it, and then just allowing enough at the top for that extra fold, and then at the bottom for hemming. I actually just bought about a ½ yard extra on my length just to play it safe, and then I hung them without hemming it, so there's plenty of pulling on the floor, and then I hemmed it. That was the very last thing I did, so it was just exactly where I needed it to be. But beyond those supplies, you just kind of need standard sewing materials. Be sure to have an iron handy, as pressing really is key to professional results for your drapery. Okay, so step one is to prepare your fabric. Now I washed and dried my fabric to reduce any shrinkage problems for when I would wash the curtains in the future. Washing linen also makes it far more soft and nubby and delectable, but also very wrinkly, so I definitely pressed my fabric really well after it got out of the wash, especially along the edges where it was curling up. And then step two is to hem the sides. Now I hemmed the sides of the fabric very first by just simply turning in the raw edges to encase them in a nice hem. So step three is just to hem the top of the panel. Now I prepared the top of the curtain where the pleat tape is going to go by just simply turning the raw edge down about a ½ inch and stitching it in place. This just makes it much easier to encase that raw edge before you begin to pin the pleat tape in place before sewing. Step four is just pinning in your pleat tape. So I took the fabric to the ironing board and just folded over the top edge of the panel where the pleat tape was going to go. Now I used the pleat tape kind of as a guide to figure out how far to fold it over, and just making sure there's at least a 1/4 of an inch extra fabric at the top and the bottom of the pleat tape. And then I pressed that fold down and just began pinning my pleat tape in place. Now for the edges of the pleat tape, you can just simply fold over the raw edges so that they aren't exposed. Now step five, I took the panel into the sewing machine and stitched the pleat tape in place all around the top and the edges and the bottom. Now you just have to be careful to not sew the prong openings in the pleat tape, or you won't be able to get your prongs in. You also want it to look really nice on the other side, so just do your best to keep a consistent seam allowance as you sew around your pleat tape. Now after that is sewn in place and looking good, I recommend pressing all of your hems and seams so that the panel looks really crisp and professional. If you want to copy my same casual pleat method, I'll clarify here again that I just put a prong into every 5th pleat spot and continued that along the entire width of the panel. Now, if you want to try a different pleat method, I looked it up and there are many tutorials online that show you how to do that, so you can kind of play around yourself. But after the prongs are in place, you can insert the rings into the hooks through the rings eyelet spot. I found it easiest to then insert the rod into the rings while I was on the floor rather than trying to insert them in place while they were being hung on the wall. Then you can just hang them up on the wall and admire your hard work. I absolutely love the look of my casual pleated curtains, and I would love to hear if you think this is a project that you might also enjoy. I have a feeling that all of our curtains in our new home will end up being done with pleat tape because there's just so many options once it is sewn on there. One quick caveat to pleated curtains: because they're pinched together, your curtains won't likely ungather and close to cover your window. They are more for looks than privacy, but that is why I hung up these amazing natural shades if we ever need privacy or want to like filter light. I got them from blindsgalore.com, and these are the Bali Natural Shades in Spree Studio. They easily lift up and pull down without any cords needed. I actually really love Blinds Galore's blinds, and we've used them in our previous home, in our RV, and now here. I will link you to my selection if you want to learn more, but I really am loving the natural texture that these blinds add to the room and how they complement with the natural linen fabric as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed learning about sewing pleat tape into your curtains, and I hope you'll give it a try. I hope you won't be intimidated by the project, and just remember, all you really need to know is how to do a basic straight stitch, and then you got this. My living room is finally coming together just in time to decorate for the holidays, so I hope you'll subscribe and come back to watch me add some seasonal decor, and then later when I finally share the living room reveal. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to head to the blog post if you feel you need like maybe a picture tutorial or more instruction. That will be there for you. I will be back soon.